Hello and welcome to my world of crochet. My name is Stine and today I'm here with you for another yarn talk video. And as always, we can't talk about yarn without me having my faithful mug of tea. And today that is a classic Earl Grey. So I've been busy the last 2 weeks. And given that it's been 2 weeks since the last yarn talk video, I haven't even had that much time to crochet as I thought I would have. But honestly, at the same time, I'm not surprised. I was at an event previous week, so last week, and that really did take up a lot of my time. I had brought a project with me to crochet on, but I got literally nothing done. Anyhow, I did finish a project since last yarn talk video, and that is a keychain, hat puff stitches with a nice clasp to add to your keychain, or it could also be a bag accessory or whatever you could figure out. I had this scrap laying around of some recycled cotton. Wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it, and I was going to hope that I had exactly enough yarn. And guess what? I had exactly enough. I think I had less than a meter left of the scrap when I was completed with this hat. So I did definitely do a little bit of yarn chicken. But I won, and I didn't even 100% weight up. So it is a double-sided one. So I first made the one side, and so okay, is it possible to make a second? And yes, it was. And yeah, this is basically the final finished product. So back charm, keyring, whichever. So pretty happy with how it turned out. Definitely pleased. So let's actually go into the fun things here, because I have been busy on the Fleur since last time. I've actually been so busy that I finished up the Fuchsia Purple, or is it Fuchsia Pink? I think it's Fuchsia Purple, I should know. But I finished up the Fuchsia yarn. This is how much I have left. It's caked up, I know, but this is how much I have left of the 3.5 ounce skein, or about 322 yards. So yeah, that is what I've left. I'm pretty surprised, positively surprised. This goes into my stash. I have this yarn stash where I have all the Stylecraft Special DK yarns. And I keep them, so once I'm done with the blanket, then I will probably use these scraps to make other scrap projects with, because that just makes good sense, use up the scraps, right? Maybe like a double-stranded hat or something like that. I am using a 4mm crochet hook for it. So this means that I have gone to round, I do believe it's 79. Let me just check my notes, because I have these lovely notes. Yes, 79. So I am now at round 79, which means I've finished the last round, just finished the last round of this Fuchsia pink. And I did cut the yarn. I didn't weave it in yet, because I tend to first do that when I know 100% sure I don't need to frog. I did cut the yarn, so maybe I should have waited by cutting it, just to make sure that I could get all the way around and all that stuff. But I guess I took a gamble. So right now I only have the cream white attached. But this is basically how we are looking at with the round 79 added. I'm just gonna go a little bit back for you to easier get a look at this. This, my friends, yeah, would be it. It is getting really difficult for me to show it all to you. That's okay. But yeah, it's feeling great. It still works up nicely on the back side, as you can see. And then, yeah, I'm gonna do a round now, round 80 with the cream white. And then once I'm gone through that, and that's flawless, I will be adding the new color, which is a plum. So this plum color, and this is a full cake. So this is a full skein caked up. And I do cake them up because then I can easily put them on these wheels or yarn cake holders. And then I can just like slowly take it as I need the yarn. It works much nicer, is my experience so far. So that is basically why I choose to cake up the skeins, so I can easily work with the yarn like that. And I think it works really nice. The color scheme is nicely planned out. So this is basically the following color to be added. And then we will eventually head in towards the blues and greens. But yeah, we still have some rows to go. But yeah, 79 is where we are at. And hopefully for next yarn talk video, depending on everything that's going to happen the coming week, I hope to at least have had 1 or 2 rounds of the plum. 1 round should be realistic because that's another 2 rounds to be added. So yeah, that seems doable to me. At least that's a goal. So yeah, you can only see where I carry the yarn on the corner. Except for that, I think it is actually working up super nicely. Technically more than halfway. But looking at the amount of stitches every round has, I don't think I'm halfway, but you know, I'm just doing them stitch by stitch by stitch by stitch by stitch. And progress is good and I'm happy. So yeah, that was Fleur. Fleur is designed by Anke Wintermans. She's a Dutch crochet designer. She makes tons of mosaic blankets. You can find her on Ravelry, and I've linked to this particular pattern in the description box down below should you be interested in knowing more. Let's see, what did I then start on? The next project I started on, because we always talk about my projects in a chronological order. The next project is my CeylonTea Shawl. And my CeylonTea Shawl I am working up in the Linda Hobby Soft Cake with a D-hook, so a 3.25mm crochet hook. I do believe they recommend a 3mm hook. I think a 3mm hook is a little bit too small. I think my stitch definition comes out really nice with 3.25 with this yarn. It's 50% cotton, 50% acrylic. It is 250 grams, so 8.8 ounces, or 1,000 meters, or 1,093 yards. Which means, of course, once I'm done with this project, it's quite a bit that goes into my used pile. And I am looking forward to see this finished result. So far, I am almost caught up. I worked, and I did a lot of work on this for, like between Christmas and New Year's. And then I found sometime a couple of weeks ago that I had made a mistake and I frogged it back. And when I frogged it back, I really never got really started on it again, not as much. And now I'm almost caught up. So this is where we are at. I think I am maybe 1 row short, maybe 1 or 2 rows short of being completely caught up. I have already begun on the repeat of the pattern, because the repeat of the pattern is, let's see, that will be the last row I just did. That is row 6, which is where you start repeating the pattern. So I did a full repeat and now I'm back to repeating. So this basically, these front posts are the same as the front posts that you made all the way up here. So the next bit I will be doing is this section. And I should be able to repeat it a couple of times. You can see we are going into the lighter grays. And this, my friends, is the yarn that I'm using. As you can see, there's a little bit left yet from when I frogged it originally. I believe this round, maybe next round, then we should be back on track as to where we were. And then there is still all this to go. We are slowly going to head into these yellows, and then it's going to end up with this cream. And somehow I just felt this yarn was really well fitted to a CeylonTea Shawl, because the CeylonTea, when I buy them in the store here in the Netherlands, they are always coming in these yellow bags. And tea is also kind of grayish, I guess, because I'm thinking a bit towards the Earl Grey. So somehow this yarn just speaks tea to me. I don't know why. It says CeylonTea. And that's why I decided on this color back in the day. And hopefully sometime this month would be awesome if I could finish up the project. But you know, it's not important when I finished, as long as it eventually finishes, because I do have a few other projects that I am working on. Of course, I'm working on Fleur, but also the CeylonTea Shawl. Another project that I'm working on is the Butterfly Migration Poncho. It's a drops design pattern, and I'm doing well. Just quickly to say, the CeylonTea Shawl is designed by RedTeapotAtelier. She is a Spanish designer. She has a lovely Instagram, and I got her pattern via the hobby website, but she also sells her patterns on Ravelry, Etsy, etc. Gorgeous designer, lots of intricate designs. I love her shawls, and she just it's about launching a new shawl design, which I'm also quite keen on looking more into. Regardless, poncho time, because I have finished the first side of the Butterfly Migration Poncho. That is 2 rectangles that you eventually sew together. It's starting quite simple, and then it is an 8-row repeat, which I repeated like 10 times, I believe. And then I finished like how I started to make a sort of nice edging. So this would be how the rectangle looks. And normally it would start with a chain, and then in the following row, working into the chains, it's double crochets, but at some spaces in that, you have to decrease. I found that a bit of a waste. So instead I decided to just make a foundation double crochet chain with the exact amount of stitches for the pattern requirement, and that is what I've done with the second. And when I'm looking at it like this, I don't feel I am missing anything. I think this is a nice intricate design. Don't ask me why it's named the Butterfly Poncho, but Butterfly Migration, but it has these nice design flows in it. I will have to block this, I think, before sewing it together. Just a light block, like not a lot, but just to make sure, because when I do lay it down, I can see it is a little bit crinkly and so on. So just to make sure the pattern really pops out, right? So I'm just gonna give it a slight little blocking stretch. And of course the same with the second. So I started on the second yesterday during my live, I worked a little bit on it after I finished the live. So this is how far we are. I'm about in the second repeat of the pattern, and that is the 8-row repeat. So I do have quite a bit to go, but I also have plenty of enough yarns to be able to finish up this. Once the 2 rectangles are finished and stretched out, then I will have to sew them together to form the poncho. So that's basically what's happening right now. I am working on getting the right length, etc. And then it's gonna be 2 rectangles, which you kind of like sew together, and it gets like you have a square in the middle where you can put your head through, and you have this poncho. I think it's a nice design. It's not too difficult going through the pattern, as long as, like, I skipped the chain part and all that. So I made the foundation chain. Using it like that, I think it is a reasonably straightforward design. Once you get to know the repeats, then it's pretty easy. And I think it's nice for summer or spring. It's not going to be very warm because it does have some hole in the designs, right? So I think it's just like this nice layer on top, just if it's a little bit of a chilly evening, for example. So that is basically what I'm working on here. And I do think it has a little bit of priority to get finished. Not as in a high priority, but I like it because I somehow go through these very quickly, because it is 50-gram skeins. I am using the Drops Cotton Light, which is 50% cotton, 50% polyester yarn from Drops. So it's like a DK weight. 50 grams, 1.75 ounces, or 115 yards, so 105 meters. They can wash these at, I think it's 40 degrees Celsius. I do generally recommend a hand wash. But yeah, so I am looking forward. It's colorway 11, which is apple green, that I'm working with. I believe the original design was in a yellow. I just like a little bit of difference, right? So that is what I'm working with. And I think you could use probably any DK weight yarn for it. Of course, depending on the yarn and what you want to use it for, always think about the yarn's individual properties, because that is, of course, different from yarn to yarn. which means that I'm actually only having 3 active projects right now. I'm a bit surprised. Normally I have more going, but I don't at the moment. I don't. I do have plans. I think this is like 100th time. Well, not completely, but we talked about it a few times. I do want to design a new bag. And I really want to make a design for it, etc. And I'm going to use this recycled cotton from Hobby. And I'm probably going to just design it in the gray. And then afterwards, you need to figure out to write down the pattern, make a tutorial for it, and so on. And I will have a bit more time to do it now than I thought originally, because so what also happened was last week I had a phone call. They wanted me to come for a job interview. I had applied for a job and I thought I wouldn't be getting it because, you know, they had more than 100 applicants, and I'm like, you know, the job was taken down from the site, and I'm like, I guess they found the applicant and it's not gonna be it, because it was like the perfect job. Like it was a 10 minutes drive from here, right? Like 5 kilometers away. I could easily bike back and forth if I wanted to. Plenty of things, right? Like, and it was kind of fitting my profile. So when they called us that they wanted me to come for an interview, I was honestly I'm shocked, because I thought you had found your candidate. And they were like, yeah, but we had more than 100 applicants. So it took a bit of time to go through all these. So I was really proud to be at an interview Monday. So the first hand interview, so to say, knowing that I was one out of at least 100 applicants that they had chosen to interview. I did unfortunately yesterday get an email saying that they had chosen to proceed with other candidates, but that they were quite impressed with my background and skill sets, etc. But they just had found a candidate that had a little bit more experience within what they were looking. Sad, because it would have been a perfect job. But on the other hand, it does mean I have plenty of time the coming few weeks, because I'm helping my mom-in-law moving, a few other things coming up. So it does give me a bit more time to get things settled here the coming time. And I'm fine with it, actually. Like, I'm sad I didn't get the job. It would have been perfect. But at the same time, somehow it's kind of okay. Does that make sense? And what I say, it means that there will be something else eventually that will be a better fit for me. And I'm still an entrepreneur by heart. I do have a small business on the side that will feed me, that will keep me warm, etc. Like, I will not starve, but it does mean that I'm a bit more on a budget on some aspects in life. So I need to be a little bit more considerate than I used to be, which is okay. It just means I can't randomly go out and buy yarns. I need to have a good reason for buying those yarns, or look at it as a more business perspective, which is fine. I have plenty of yarns. I'm not gonna get bored when it comes to yarns. Definitely not. What I also wanted to do, we talked about that last time as well, was to make a new beanie, probably, in this Sarah yarn, which is a brushed acrylic yarn. You can see it has this fluff on it. 100% acrylic, 200 meters, so it's like 220 odd-ish yards. Around 220 yards to 3.5 ounces. And they recommend 4.5 millimeter crochet hook for this. So it is like a bit like a DK, some DK weight yarn. 3-weight DK weight, but it's also a little bit towards the 4-weight, depending on if you include this fluff or not. I should have enough here to make the beanie. And that is what I'm gonna do. I'm just not sure what pattern, so I will have to look a bit for the pattern. I had an idea in mind, but I think this might actually be just too thick for it. That plan has changed, and I'm going to see if I can find a different pattern that could be workable with this brushed acrylic yarn. Next to this yarn, I also found another yarn, because I saw this Spirograph beanie a couple of weeks ago. A couple of my watchers hinted me towards that. Back in the day, had made this absolutely gorgeous Spirograph beanie. They sent me actually some photos of their own creations, and I was like, all in all, they looked amazingly good. And it inspired me to also make one. And first I thought this could be a good yarn for it, but it will be too thick. It's just, there isn't enough yarn on this. But a yarn that could actually work for it is this Como yarn that I have from Seemann. I have one skein here, and it is also 3.5 ounces to 310 meters, which is about 325, 30-ish yards, which should be enough. It's 39% acrylic, 35% polyamide, and 26% polyester. It has this shine to it, and it does change color. It's a gradient yarn, and I think it would be gorgeous for this. They recommend a 4 to 5 millimeter crochet hook. I believe the pattern is worked in a 3.75 millimeter hook. I do know my stitches are a bit tighter. I could try to work up a swatch in the 4 millimeter and see if that could work, and hope that the hat won't turn out too big. And if that's not the case, then this could be actually the great perfect yarn for making that Spirograph beanie. I will try to link to her tutorial back a day, that is, here down below, if you should be interested in seeing it. I think that's pretty much it. We are slowly getting to the end here. Lots of things coming up for me. Definitely going to have a little bit more flexible times on hand, depending on how the move of my mom-in-law goes. Hopefully it goes well. And then it's time for me to start make some tutorials and start get some designing done, because who knows, maybe that is an opportunity I really do need to explore now when I do have the chance to do so. I'm going to say thank you for watching this if you have gotten so far. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done yet, and hit the like button if you like talking about yarns. Take care and happy crafting. Until see you again. Bye.